Let's dive straight in. I'm going to teach you 15 must-know Japanese izakaya phrases. The first phrase you're probably going to hear a lot in Japan as a customer if you go to a bar or say a restaurant is "irashaimase." This phrase technically isn't for you to learn, but it's for you to understand. You don't need to say this back to the person. To acknowledge it, you can either nod, smile, say konnichiwa, all of those are completely fine. Now onto the phrases you need to learn. So after entering an izakaya, the second phrase you're probably going to hear after "irashaimase" is "nanme sama desu ka?" "Nanme sama desu ka?" And that means how many people, or do you need a table for how many? And to answer this, you can say one person, hitori desu, hitori desu. Two people, futari desu, futari desu. Three people, sannin desu, sannin desu. Four, yonin desu, yonin desu. Or five, gonin desu, gonin desu, etc, etc. But the main ones you're gonna need are hitori desu, futari desu. So when you sit down at the table, the next phrase you're probably gonna look for is "excuse me," because you need their attention to order a drink or some food. So "excuse me" in Japanese is "sumimasen," sumimasen. And this, by the way, might take you a little bit of time to get used to. It's still taking me a little bit of time because in England it's very rude to say this, but in Japan, I assure you it's more than okay to just shout "excuse me." This phrase in particular is gonna be one of the most useful words you're gonna use in an izakaya. If you're thirsty or want some water, you can say "water please," "mizu onegai shimasu," or "mizu kudasai." Or you can even say "mizu moraemasu ka?" "Mizu moraemasu ka?" But to be honest with you, a lot of times I noticed in Japan, the water is already there. They're so good at this. Like where I live, this is not a thing. You have to outright ask for the water, and then they'll proceed to forget the water like 2 or 3 times after you've already asked. But in Japan, it's usually already there, and I think that's so cool. So the next phrase, do you have blah blah blah? If you're just a beginner and you're not fully confident in Japanese, you're probably gonna need to say, do you have an English menu? Eigo no menu ga arimasu ka? Eigo no menu ga arimasu ka? Eigo is English, menu, you guessed it, is menu. Ga arimasu ka? Do you have? So you can say this phrase with multiple things. It's really, really useful. If you want to know they serve highball, you can say highball ga arimasu ka? Or if you want to know if they serve lemon sour, for example, lemon sour ga arimasu ka? It's the exact same sentence, you just replace the first word with the thing that you're looking for. Another good phrase to have is "what is this?" Because a lot of times in Japan you might not know what it is. Like if you can't read kanji, for example, you might want to make sure what you're gonna eat. So then you say "kore wa nan desu ka?" So you can say this phrase while pointing to something on the menu that you're not quite sure about. "Kore wa nan desu ka?" Or if the item's further away from you and it's closer to them, you can say "sore wa nan desu ka?" "Sore wa nan desu ka?" You might want a recommendation. You might want to know what they enjoy. If you're not too familiar with Japanese cuisine again, or if you want to try something new, I don't know, spice it up. So to say what is your recommendation, or do you have a recommendation, this phrase is "osusume wa nan desu ka?" "Osusume wa nan desu ka?" Or you can just say "osusume wa?" "Osusume wa?" But this one is slightly more casual. Fun fact, did you know in Japan it's pretty common knowledge that you order a beer first? This is because beers take less time to prepare than other drinks, say sours or highballs. A beer is pretty easy to make, so this is usually the first thing you order. So to do this you say "toriaizu nama," "toriaizu nama," "toriaizu nama," or "nama biru kudasai," "nama biru kudasai." Nama, just in case you're wondering, is like draft beer, like the standard beer. Nama biru, nama biru. So in izakayas, you do have a wide selection of alcoholic beverages to choose from, but they also serve a lot of delicious food, and you don't want to miss out on that. So a simple phrase to order something that you want would be "kore o kudasai," "kore o kudasai," "kore o kudasai." So that means "this please," I want this. Or you can add an amount of things you want. So if you want one of that, if you want one beer, "biru o hitotsu kudasai." Or if you want 2 of it, say you're ordering yakitori, "yakitori futatsu kudasai." So then you want 2 yakitori. So the basic sentence just stays the same, but then you can add in how much of it you want. But for now, just stick with the "kore o kudasai." That way you can just point to what you want on the menu. So I already taught you the word "toriaizu," which means "for now," to start with. You can also use this phrase. Say you want to start with an assortment of yakitori, for example. "Toriaizu yakitori moriawase de." "Toriaizu yakitori moriawase de." Next, the simplest phrase on this list, the one you're gonna probably use the most in an izakaya, if you can handle your drink of course, is gonna be "kanpai" or "kanpai." Kanpai or kanpai. You can use both. They both sound very similar, but kanpai is more commonly used. So if you love a good namaberu, you'll be saying this phrase a lot in Japan. Another fun fact about Japan is that they have two separate phrases, one before eating and one after eating. So that's a bit different to where I come from. For example, we don't really say anything before eating. But in Japan, it's polite and respectful to say itadakimasu. That's before eating. After eating, you say gochosama deshita, gochosama deshita. So before eating, it's kind of like a thank you for what I'm about to eat. Gochosama deshita. I know that's a very long word. Don't let it intimidate you. It just takes a little practice. Gochosama deshita. Gochosama deshita. Gochosama deshita. This is thank you for the food that I received, so to speak. It's kind of like a saying grace before and after having a meal. Okay, the next word on the list is my personal favorite. Let's be real, a lot of the food in Japan is very good, very delicious. So you want to be able to say that. You want to be able to communicate that to Japanese people, to show your respect. And that, of course, is oishii, oishii, or oishikatta desu, oishikatta desu. So that's past tense. So if you've already had the meal, you would say oishikatta, it was delicious. But if you're just about to eat or you're eating, you would say oishii, oishii, and that communicates to the chef that you're enjoying it. And if you're eating noodles, it helps to slurp. I know it might be rude in your culture, but in Japan, it's a must, okay? You have to slurp. I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to learn. But you slurp. You can also say umai, umai. If you watch a lot of anime, you've probably heard ume a lot. Ume, which is very masculine. Be careful with using phrases from anime, because sometimes they don't always translate or they can sound quite rude or quite direct. But umai is a very masculine term. If you're more feminine, you would say oishii, or you can even add some intensifiers. So a few of these intensifiers are mecha, totemo, cho, and hontoni. Hontoni is the most formal of all of those. The other terms are more slang and they're like increasing how delicious it is. So mecha, for example, comes from the term mechakucha, which means extremely or insanely. You can also use it with cute, I guess, like mechakucha kawaii, like insanely cute. So in this instance, it would be mecha oishii, like super, like very delicious. In fact, if you ever meet me in person, I demand that you call me mechakucha kawaii. Mechakucha kawaii, TYNE-san. In fact, if you don't, I'll be totemo offended. Japanese fact! So mecha and totemo are actually very similar. They have the same meaning, but mecha is a Kansai specific word. Entertainers born in the Kansai region use the word mecha a lot, and then it kind of caught on. So now the word's actually known throughout Japan, and you'll hear it a lot more often, not just in Osaka, for example. But beware, do not use this in formal settings. Say, talking with your boss maybe. Maybe keep it casual and amongst friends and amongst casual izakaya setting. So you've been drinking and eating and you enjoyed what you had and you want to have it again. So what do you say? Okawari kudasai! Okawari kudasai! Same again please. Can I have the same again or another helping of what I just had? Or you can say, Mou hitotsu onaji mono kudasai. Mou hitotsu onaji mono kudasai. That one's a little bit longer, so I would stick with okawari kudasai. It kind of flows a lot better when you're a beginner. Okawari kudasai. So after eating and drinking a lot of the izakaya, you're probably going to be a little bit full. And Japanese love to serve. They love to give you more food. So what can you say to kind of politely decline and also show appreciation for everything you've just had? Onaka ga ippai. Onaka ga ippai, which means I'm really full. I'm stuffed. Or you can even add on kekko desu. Onaka ga ippai. I'm fine. I'm really full. Thank you. You can even say onaka ippai. Onaka ippai, which is kind of what I say a lot of the time. I think it just flows. You can take away the ga, onaka ga ippai, if that's more comfortable for you. So last but not least, you're done with your meal, you're done with your drinks, you're full as can be, you're content and happy in the land of Japan. What do you say to get the bill? You say, okaike onegai shimasu. Sumimasen. Okaike onegai shimasu. You can even say okaike kudasai. But I think okaike onegai shimasu is more common. So I hope I taught you some useful must-know Japanese izakaya phrases that you can take with you to Japan. Before I go, I have a little top tip for you. So after everything's done, you paid the bill and you've had the fabulous time at izakaya, don't say sayonara. Unless it's the very last day, maybe you can say sayonara. But sometimes it can be a little rude. A little bit like, I'm never coming back, ever again. Was the namabiru not good enough for you? Did you not enjoy the yakitori that you just had? Are you never coming back ever again? It's quite harsh, right? So instead of that, and instead of mata ne, bye bye, which can be quite childish, maybe immature sounding, I would use arigatou gozaimashita, arigatou gozaimashita, which is thank you for everything that just happened. Or goshou-sama deshita, goshou-sama deshita, which is the one that I just taught you. You already know it. When you're leaving the izakaya or restaurant or bar, you can say it then. It's kind of like a goodbye, but in a very respectful way. Mite kurete arigato, sayonara. Jodan desu. Just kidding. Oh my god, are my ears gonna be a problem? I'm jingling. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. So I already taught you the phrase. Oh my god. They have a separate phrase. Oh my god, start again. Okay. Another fun fact about Japan is that they have two separate phrases.